Hello, and welcome to another exciting edition of Poetry Reading by yours truly, the Shoebox Poet, Clarence Plank. And we're reading from Finding Peace Within the Storm. So, the first poem I'm going to read is called The Darkest Day. The darkest day, the darkest second, was when you told me that you hated me. The darkest minute was when you tore my pictures from the frame. The darkest hours were when you hit me for no reason. And I'm just wondering if I had ever read this before. The darkest day was when you said goodbye. Now, I was looking at this many times because, we go through a lot of dark moments in our life. And you just get to that point where, like, what the hell happened? You know? The relationship for everything just to fall apart. And then either you hit somebody or they hit you, which you're not supposed to hit anybody in relationships, you know. But, it just comes down to that. So. But this song this was inspired by a song called The Darkest Days by Stavin Westward, and it's his second album. The next one's called Odd One Out. Yes, I have read this. So that means somewhere along the lines I've probably done something. Well, anyway, I'm going to jump ahead a couple poems. Breathe is what this one's called. I have done all that I can do. I feel so empty inside myself. There is a pain deep within my soul, and all I want to do is cry, scream, cry and scream, so that the world can hear my last dying voice. Everything is lost, and I cannot find myself buried beneath those dying feelings. The world that I know has come crashing down, and the dust is so thick I cannot breathe. And basically, this poem right here, when I wrote it, was just how you feel about things in life and how you can get frustrated because shit does happen. It's a given, things like that do, but you try to figure out what the hell's going on and try to make adjustments. And then there's times when there are things that are out of your control that you can't fix. So it's actually called My Tears. I can taste the rain as it fell upon my face. The rain tastes like my tears. I was such a fool to believe you would love me, and therefore I am here in the rain. I am down on my knees, drunk and very cold, and I see your face in the rain, and I must turn away. The pain is too strong for me to bear. A slow mist begins to creep in, shrouding me in its wake, just as it fades from sight. I cradle my face in the palm of my hands, and still I cried. I remove my hands, and I watch the rain as it falls from my face and collects in the palm of my hands. I hear footsteps, and a figure comes walking out of the darkness. The footsteps get louder and louder, and then they stop in front of me. I raise my head to see you standing before me. You reach out your hand to me, and I reach out my hand to take yours, and felt nothing in the grasp. And then when I opened my eyes, and then I realized that it was only the mist playing tricks on me. And this right here poem I was thinking about, there's a Ernest Goes to Camp, and that was basically a scene or a song in there when he talks about about the rain covering your tears because you don't want to admit that you're crying. And that's basically what I'm talking about here. Is like there's a lot of emotion about how you feel about somebody, and them going away, and then you think that hey, they're coming back, but in the actuality they're not. So next one's called Nightmare. I awoke to find myself underwater and chained to a stone slab. I tried in vain to break the chains that bind me, but it was no use. The chains were made of steel, and they were too strong for me, and I could feel myself beginning to black out. I had to try and calm myself down and think of some way I use my mind over this matter. Anything to make me stronger than these chains. I began to forgive and forget who gave me this heavy burden. And with that thought, I grew stronger, and I broke the chains that held me. I began to swim to the surface in my mind, and in my mind, I knew what waited for me on the surface for me, the air and freedom without you to drag me down. I broke through the surface where I took my first breath without your help. The ship was there to rescue me from the cold waters, and a warm blanket and a beautiful sunrise gave me hope for the future. I realize now that I have to believe in myself because I have not let you go. If I've not let you go, I would have drowned in my misery over losing you. And with that, I awoke from this nightmare, or from my nightmare. And I was basically thinking about how a lot of times when we get in relationships, and it's like, we become, that person becomes our one and all, and you start to drown in them. And in that drowning of yourself, and when they decide that they are done with the relationship, because sometimes some relationships just don't work out, and you are there drowning in that person, and they've already moved on, so you are left there in that ocean of regret and sorrow and self-pity and all those things, and you're trying to swim your way to the surface to get out away from that. And it takes a lot to be able to let go of those emotions and those feelings and the thoughts that you're of your insignificance of who you are as a person, when you are more than that, or when you're so much more loved in that way, or loved in another way. It's actually called inner rage. Feeling deep within me, the dark and twisted image comes to life. Something made me pure hate and anger in the dark forest that I fight to keep hidden. It is a struggle to keep the darkness under control. The darkness is an unholy madness, and it grows stronger day by day. The darkness feeds off my stress and fears and inner rage, and it keeps tempting me with the deadly truths. It wants me to hurt the ones I love and to cause my troubles, and a blind madness that wants me to lash out and destroy everything that screams no mercy for the damned and vow to show no remorse in the end. And basically, with the poem, that poem right there, and just basically looking at how we all have a darkness inside of us. So there's something that's in us that keeps us, but we always do our best to keep those demons at bay, basically. And you go through life wanting to fight the anger, the rage, the frustration, and sometimes you do lash out at people you love, and they're the ones that to get the brunt of the most of the things that irritate you or whatever. And I mean, it's sad that those things happen, and you just got to learn how to redirect that to a positive end, or to a positive, but you don't eat it. You don't let it consume you. And that was what I was trying to convey in that poem. Next one's called Myself. In the light of the day, I found myself following the setting sun. I had begun my journey of finding my soul. The falling shadows land upon the ground behind me, and I have cast my fears and regrets aside, and I follow the setting sun. In the hopes of finding myself, and I know the journey will be long and hard. This I know is true, yet I do this to find myself. And I wrote this because there's like a running gag. It's like I've gone out to find myself. If I've happened to come back before, if I happen to arrive before I come back, please hold me, or something like that. Because there's so many times you go out, you're searching yourself, and no matter what journey in life, you're always searching to find yourself as a person. And that's basically what I'm trying to do here, is find myself. find myself in in this world. Who am I as a person more than what somebody else sees me as a person? Because everything that somebody or what people see of you is not who you are, because they have this impression of you when that's not really you. Only you know who you are as a person, and it's like what somebody believes or thinks about you is not your voice. It's not who you are as a person. This poem was inspired by the Def Leppard song "Stage Fright." Now it may be a different um, thing on that, in a different vein of the song, but I'm a Def Leppard fan. I love Def Leppard, so I mean, and some of their songs have been written into poems for that I enjoy, their music and things that I enjoy more and more from them. So we play many roles on a stage called life, and we often find ourselves in the spotlight of a challenge. We're given parts that can strengthen or destroy us. I've always been given the part of a fool. Playing the part of a fool isn't easy, especially when the role is for love. Being the fool in love is very painful for me because I am a real fool when it comes to love. I stumbled through this role, and the critics all agree I'm a bad choice for the part. I do try to learn from my mistakes. And that's the thing, you got to learn from your mistakes, especially when it comes to love, because you're putting yourself out there. You're putting yourself out there and hoping to gain something more of, because love is a very valuable thing. It's just unfortunate that it's so rare when you find it with somebody who actually wants to love you the same as you love them. Um, but as I said, it's just really difficult, especially today in this world. Um, this next one's called Inner Rage. A feeling deep within me, the dark, twisted image comes to life. Something made pure hate and anger. A dark force that I keep hitting, and I struggle to keep the darkness under control. This darkness is unholy madness and grows stronger day by day. The darkness feeds off my stress and fears and the inner rage which keeps tempting me with its deadly truths. It wants me to hurt the ones I love, and the cause of my troubles and the blind madness that wants to lash out. Destroy everything that screams no mercy, and it screams no mercy for the damned, and I vow to show no remorse in the end. Now, mm, now inner rage is basically, there's a lot of times when I do write, sometimes certain poems I have I have done. Um, it's just basically like this. It says, I play around with poems a lot. So when I have a certain thought, I will go this way. Well, I will write one way, and then I go back to it and write that poem in a different way. So sometimes I have maybe three or four poems, or maybe two, that reflect that same poem, but they're in a different context of how they are written. And Nightmare, well, not Nightmare, but there's Inner Rage reminds me of another poem that I read somewhere along the lines. But yeah, it is definitely there. That inner rage that you have within yourself. And there's like a lot of times, there was like one thing something that really stuck out to me once in a show is it's like this person said, they grabbed the person's hand when they tried to attack him, and he said that there's a darkness inside of me you do not really want to tap into. Everybody has that dark side of them, and people just poke and prod them to try and get it. And there's a lot of times I don't like that person, the other person that's hidden beneath my skin, um, because a lot of times I know who that person is. I know how he acts, and I know what he does, and I do my best to keep him um, to keep him hidden. He's been hidden for a very long time, but there are times when he comes out because he gets mad and upset, especially how things are going on today. Um, but it is what it is. And yeah, I stabbed myself trying to grab some clippers, so it hurts like hell. But it's all right. I've been trying to doctor it. Anyway, y'all take it easy. Check out my friends in the description. Sarah Aikenhead and Bill Owen Miller and Sarah Aikenhead, Sarah and Sherry Aikenhead. Sorry, have released a new podcast over on Cast It in the Fire. Definitely check them out. I need to do that at some point. I just haven't had time to start a new job and everything. So that's basically where all my time has been, trying to figure that out. Um, check out my friend Jenna Jinx and her portraits. Jenna Jinx portraits. Check out my friends Aria and Alberta and their Reiki sessions. Definitely give your love and support to the Spine Bookshop. Definitely go donate to their GoFundMe and help keep that little shop open and help them to be able to find a new place to be a set up home. And I am going to go and do other things. Y'all have a good night. Be safe. And I guess I'll see y'all next weekend.